I thought I was married to the most faithful woman in the world. Until one day my friend sent me a video of her kissing another man, in our kitchen. Instead of causing a scene, I prepared the most memorable anniversary gift for her. I met Elizabeth, Liz to everyone who knew her, at a corporate mixer 8 years ago. She stood out immediately, strawberry blonde hair, confident smile, and a laugh that made everyone around her want to join in. We connected over our mutual hatred of the cheap wine being served and our love for classic rock. By the end of the night, I had her number. Our relationship moved quickly. Within 6 months we were living together in my downtown Chicago apartment, and after 3 years, I proposed during a weekend trip to Lake Michigan. The wedding was everything she wanted, elegant but not over the top, with just enough personal touches to make it memorable. My parents adored her, and even my cynical college friends thought I'd hit the jackpot. For 5 years of marriage, I believed I had. Liz didn't work. She'd quit her marketing job shortly after we got married, saying she wanted to focus on making our house a home. I didn't mind. My job as an investment consultant kept us comfortable, and I liked coming home to a clean house and home-cooked meals. She was attentive, affectionate, and seemed genuinely happy with our life together. "You're the best husband in the world, James," she would say, wrapping her arms around me from behind while I brushed my teeth or checked emails. "I'm the luckiest woman alive." I believed her. Why wouldn't I? We rarely fought, our sex life was good, and she never gave me reason to doubt her. When my colleagues complained about their wives or girlfriends, would smile sympathetically while secretly feeling grateful that Liz and I had what seemed like the perfect relationship. The first crack appeared so subtly I almost missed it. Liz started going to the gym more often, sometimes twice a day. She said she was focusing on her health, and the results were undeniable. Her body toned up, she seemed more energetic, and she even started experimenting with new recipes focused on protein and vegetables. "You should join me sometime," she suggested once over dinner. "Maybe next week," I said, knowing I probably wouldn't. My 60-hour work weeks left little energy for much else. Then came the new clothes. Shopping had always been her favorite hobby, but now she was buying different styles, more revealing tops, tighter jeans, dresses that hugged every curve. When I complimented her, she beamed. "Just trying to keep things exciting for you," she said with a wink. In hindsight, I should have seen it. The late-night texts she'd quickly hide when I walked into the room. The sudden interest in changing her hair color. The extra effort she put into her makeup on days when she claimed she was just running errands. But I trusted her completely. That was my first mistake. My friend Steve had known me since college. He'd been the best man at our wedding and was one of the few people who regularly visited our home in the suburbs. He worked remotely as a security consultant and often joked that his paranoia made him good at his job. One Tuesday afternoon in April, my phone buzzed with a text from him. "Steve, I need to show you something. Can we meet?" I suggested a bar near my office, but he insisted on coming to me. "This isn't something for public spaces," he wrote. My stomach tightened. Steve wasn't the dramatic type. If he thought something needed privacy, it was serious. He arrived at my office 20 minutes later, looking uncomfortable. We went to an empty conference room, and he pulled out his phone. "I was installing a new security system at your place last week while you were at work," he began. "Liz knew I was coming, you remember, you asked me to upgrade after that break-in down the street." I nodded. The robbery 2 houses down had spooked us both. I finished earlier than expected and was packing up when I heard voices. I thought maybe Liz didn't realize I was still there. Steve's eyes dropped to the table. I grabbed my things and was heading out through the kitchen when I saw. He handed me his phone. "I'm sorry, man. I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it myself. I recorded it because, well, I thought you deserved to know." The video was only 30 seconds long, but it was enough. Liz, wearing the new sundress I'd complimented just days before, sitting on our kitchen island, where we ate breakfast every morning, with a man I'd never seen before standing between her legs. They were kissing deeply, his hands running up her thighs, pushing the dress higher. "Turn it off," I said hoarsely. Steve took the phone back. "There's more." "More videos?" "No. More to the story." He hesitated. I recognized him. "He's a personal trainer at Liz's gym. Ryan something." I did some digging. "You investigated my wife?" The anger in my voice surprised even me. "I investigated a potential security breach in your home," Steve corrected, his professional tone taking over. "And I found a pattern. He comes over 3 times a week, always between 1 and 3, always leaves before you get home. Sometimes they go out to a hotel in Northbrook. He's married too, by the way." The room seemed to tilt sideways. I gripped the edge of the conference table, feeling sick. "How long?" I managed to ask. "From what I can tell, about 4 months." 4 months. While I was working 60-hour weeks to afford our lifestyle, to save for the family she claimed she wanted to start next year, to pay for the shopping trips and organic groceries and weekend getaways. "James." Steve's voice seemed far away. "What do you want to do?" What I wanted was to go home immediately, confront her, throw her out. I wanted to break something. I wanted to call her parents, her friends, tell everyone what she'd done. But a cold clarity was settling over me, pushing the rage down deep where I could examine it later. "Nothing," I said finally. "Not yet." Steve looked confused. "You're not going to confront her?" "Our anniversary is in 2 weeks," I said, an idea forming. "She's been dropping hints about what she wants. Expensive jewelry, maybe a trip to Bali." Understanding dawned on Steve's face. "You're planning something." "I need your help," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "The security system you installed, does it record inside the house?" "It can. I disabled the interior cameras per your instructions, but activating them is just a matter of changing the settings in the app." I nodded. "Do it. I want everything recorded when I'm not home. And I need to know more about this Ryan." Over the next 2 weeks, I lived a double life. At home, I was the same attentive husband, perhaps even more so. I brought Liz flowers for no reason, told her how beautiful she looked, suggested we plan a big celebration for our anniversary. "I was thinking we could have people over," I said casually one evening. "It's our 5th, that's a milestone worth celebrating, don't you think?" Liz seemed hesitant. "I was hoping for something more intimate. Just the 2 of us." I stroked her hair, swallowing the bile that rose in my throat at her touch. "We'll have plenty of time for that. But I'm proud of us, of what we've built. I want our friends to see how happy we are." She relented, as I knew she would. Liz loved being the center of attention, loved showing off our house and our relationship. Meanwhile, Steve was sending me daily updates. The interior cameras caught everything, Ryan coming over almost daily now, their encounters growing bolder. They'd had sex on our couch, in our shower, even in our bed. They'd drink the expensive wine I'd been saving for special occasions. Once, Liz showed him the anniversary gift she'd bought for me, a watch I'd mentioned wanting, with an engraving about eternal love. The irony might have been funny if it hadn't hurt so much. Ryan Bishop was 29, married to a pharmaceutical sales rep who traveled frequently. He had worked at the gym for 2 years and had a reputation for getting very hands-on with his female clients. There were rumors of at least 2 other affairs, though nothing had ever been proven. I hired a private investigator to follow him and get more details about his schedule, his finances, his wife. The PI reported back that Ryan had recently put a deposit down on a new car, one he shouldn't have been able to afford on a trainer's salary. "Has he been spending money on your wife?" the investigator asked. Gifts, trips, anything like that? No, I said, remembering the jewelry Liz had recently started wearing, pieces I hadn't bought. It's the other way around. As our anniversary approached, I made all the arrangements. I invited 40 people to our home, her friends, my friends, colleagues, neighbors, both our families. I ordered catering, bought champagne, and arranged for a photographer to document the evening. This seems like a lot, Liz said 2 days before the party. Are you sure you don't want to scale back? Nothing's too good for my wife, I replied, kissing her forehead. Don't worry about a thing. I've got it all covered. The day of our anniversary, I woke up early and brought her breakfast in bed, something I'd done on special occasions throughout our marriage. Happy anniversary, beautiful, I said, setting the tray beside her. 5 years. Can you believe it? She smiled sleepily, that smile that had once made my heart race. The happiest 5 years of my life. The lie didn't even show on her face. I have meetings all day, I told her, but everything for tonight is arranged. Just relax and get yourself ready. I'll be home by 6. I didn't have meetings. Instead, I spent the day finalizing my plan, making sure every detail was perfect. I met with my lawyer to go over the divorce papers one last time. I had evidence of her infidelity, documentation of how she'd been spending my money on her lover. In our state, that meant I had the upper hand. When I got home that evening, the catering staff was already setting up. Liz had spent the day at the salon and was getting dressed in our bedroom. She'd bought a new dress for the occasion, tight, low-cut, expensive. You look stunning, I told her, and I meant it. Even knowing what I knew, I couldn't deny her beauty. Wait until you see what I got you, she said with a secretive smile. I can't wait, I replied, thinking of my own gift to her. Guests began arriving at 7. Liz was in her element, accepting congratulations and compliments, holding my hand, playing the perfect wife. My parents hugged her warmly. Her parents toasted our happiness. Friends from college reminisced about our wedding day. Through it all, I maintained the facade, laughing at the right moments, thanking people for coming, refilling drinks, being the host everyone expected. At 9 o'clock, I clinked a knife against my champagne glass to get everyone's attention. I want to thank you all for coming tonight, I began, my voice steady despite the pounding of my heart. It means the world to us that you're here to celebrate 5 amazing years with the love of my life. Liz beamed beside me, squeezing my arm. When I met Elizabeth, I knew she was special. She's beautiful, charming, and has made our house a home. I raised my glass. To my wife, who has given me so much happiness. People clapped and drank. Liz kissed my cheek. And now, I continued, I'd like to give my wife her anniversary gift. Liz has been hinting that she wanted something memorable this year, and I've done my best to deliver. I moved toward the large TV mounted on our living room wall and picked up the remote. I've put together a little video, I explained to the crowd. A sort of highlight reel of our life together. Liz looked surprised but pleased. This wasn't part of what she'd been expecting. I saw her glance toward the kitchen, where I knew she'd hidden the watch she'd bought me. I pressed play. The screen lit up with footage from our wedding day, Liz in her white dress, me in my tuxedo, both of us glowing with happiness. There were clips from vacations, holiday gatherings, everyday moments at home. I'd spent hours editing it, making sure the first 2 minutes showed nothing but a loving couple with a perfect life. Then the footage changed. Liz froze beside me as the screen showed her opening our front door, letting Ryan in. The timestamp clearly visible in the corner showed it was just 3 days ago. They barely made it past the entryway before she was in his arms, their kisses hungry and urgent. A collective gasp went through the room. Someone dropped a glass. I heard my mother's shocked intake of breath. The video continued, showing multiple days, multiple encounters. I'd edited out the most explicit content, but what remained was damning enough. Liz and Ryan in the kitchen. Liz laughing as she poured him wine from a bottle I'd been saving. Liz showing him the watch she bought for me, both of them laughing. And finally, the most recent footage, from yesterday afternoon, Ryan pressing Liz against the refrigerator, saying clearly, "When are you going to leave him?" "You said after the anniversary." "I need to make sure the finances are in order first," Liz replied on screen. "Don't worry, just a little longer and we'll have everything we need." I stopped the video and turned to face the room. Everyone was staring at Liz, who had gone completely white. "James," she whispered, "I can explain." "No need," I said pleasantly. I think the video explained everything quite clearly. Her eyes darted around the room, taking in the shocked faces of our friends and family. Her parents couldn't even look at her. "This isn't, you don't understand," she stammered. "What don't I understand, Liz?" "That you've been sleeping with your trainer for months. That you've been using my money to buy him gifts. Or that you were planning to leave me after bleeding my accounts dry." She reached for me, but I stepped back. "Don't," I said quietly. "Don't touch me. Please," she begged, tears streaming down her face now. "We can talk about this privately. We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix," I replied. From my jacket pocket, I pulled out an envelope and handed it to her. "These are divorce papers. My lawyer will be in touch with yours, if you can afford one. I've already frozen our joint accounts." The whispers had started. People were gathering their things, eager to escape the unfolding drama. Some looked disgusted, others embarrassed. A few of her friends were already heading for the door. "You can't do this," she hissed, her humiliation turning to anger. "This is my house too." "Actually, it's not," I corrected her. "The house is in my name only. You insisted on that arrangement, remember? So you wouldn't have to deal with the financial hassle if something happened to me." Another irony, her attempt to protect herself from entanglement had backfired completely. "You have until tomorrow to pack your personal belongings," I continued. "Anything you purchased with household funds stays here. The locks will be changed at noon." "Where am I supposed to go?" The panic in her voice would have moved me once. "Perhaps Ryan has room for you," I suggested. Though I should mention that his wife now has the same footage I do. I glanced at my watch. In fact, she's probably watching it right now. Liz staggered back as if I'd struck her. "You planned this?" "Yes." I picked up my champagne glass again. "You wanted something memorable for our anniversary. I hope this qualifies." She looked around wildly, but there was no support to be found. Even her closest friends were avoiding her eyes. Her parents had already left, her father's disappointment palpable as he'd walked out the door. With a strangled sob, she ran for the stairs, presumably to pack or perhaps just to escape the stairs. I turned to the remaining guests. "I apologize for the drama. This wasn't how any of us expected the evening to end. Thank you all for coming, but I think it's best if we call it a night." People filed out quietly, a few stopping to offer awkward condolences or squeeze my shoulder in silent support. Steve was the last to leave. "You okay?" he asked. I considered the question. The woman I'd loved, the life I'd built, the future I'd planned, all of it was gone, shattered beyond repair. But in its place was something unexpected, relief. "I will be," I answered truthfully. "Thank you. For everything." After everyone left, I poured myself another glass of champagne and sat alone in the living room, listening to the sounds of Liz moving around upstairs. She was crying, I could hear the muffled sobs even from a distance. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not vindication, not even anger anymore. Just emptiness where love had been. My phone buzzed with a text from Ryan's wife. He came home with a black eye. Said he fell at the gym. Thank you for telling me the truth. I didn't reply. Her path forward was her own decision, just as mine was now mine alone. Past midnight, Liz came downstairs with a suitcase. She'd washed off her makeup, and without it, she looked younger, vulnerable in a way that might have tugged at my heart before. Was any of it real? I asked, surprising myself with the question. Did you ever actually love me? She paused at the door. Of course I did. In the beginning. When did it change? She shrugged, a small, defeated gesture. I don't know. Maybe it didn't change so much as fade. You were always working. We stopped talking about anything real. And then Ryan was there, and he made me feel alive again. You could have told me you were unhappy, I said. We could have tried to fix things. Or you could have just left. It wasn't that simple. She looked down at her wedding ring, then slipped it off and placed it on the side table. I'm sorry. Not for getting caught, but for hurting you. You deserved better. The apology felt hollow, too little too late, but I nodded anyway. She picked up her suitcase. Goodbye, James. The front door closed behind her with a soft click. I sat in the silence of my empty house, the champagne warm and flat in my glass. She had lost everything, her comfortable life, her reputation, probably her lover too once the reality of supporting her set in. And I had orchestrated it all with cold, meticulous precision. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I was just tired. My phone buzzed again, this time with texts from friends checking on me. I ignored them all and went upstairs to the guest bedroom. I couldn't face our marital bed tonight. In the morning, I would start the process of rebuilding my life. I would change the locks, as promised. I would put the house on the market, too many memories here now. I would focus on work, on friends who had stood by me, on figuring out who I was without Liz. But for tonight, I allowed myself this moment of quiet reflection. She had taken so much from me, my trust, my love, years of my life. But she hadn't taken my dignity. In the end, I had reclaimed that for myself. It wasn't happiness. But it was freedom. And for now, that would have to be enough.